Hello, Awakened Beauties. Finally, it's here. The truth to empower women to true inner beauty through healthy biology. And now, here is your hostess, Cassandra Keel, your organic beauty and CBD mentor, helping you stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back. Sponsored by EvokeBeauty.com.
Welcome to the Awaken Beauty Podcast. This is Cassandra, your organic beauty and endocannabinoid mentor, and I hope you're doing well. This powerful time together is actually a carryover from our previous conversation and mini episode about estrogen mimickers called xenoestrogens. So if you missed that first part of this mini series related to excess estrogen and xenoestrogens, make sure you catch that first episode with the show notes. So as we jump into today's episode, we are, as women and naturalistas, if you're listening to this podcast, we know that many personal care products such as cosmetics, shampoos, and body care lotions, these conventional products oftentimes contain harmful chemicals. So for example, one of the most common chemicals found in personal care products is fragrance, which can be made of hundreds of various chemical compounds. And fragrances are linked to liver and kidney damage, sometimes cancer, and they certainly disrupt our endocrine system, which interferes with our adrenal system, our thyroid, and our reproductive glands. So when we use these personal care products and the plethora of them, we can inhale the toxins as well as absorb them through our skin, which is our largest organ. Simply not enough just to opt for a natural plant-based alternative with ingredients that you can just recognize. What I really want to focus in on today's episode is just how important it is to know how to recognize these unwanted ingredients that are not only damaging our skin, but damaging our health. Because there's some tricky nuances when it comes to estrogen mimicking compounds in our personal care and beauty products that are affecting our hormonal health. All right, ladies, if you're looking for natural, organic, solution-based beauty and superior CBD, go to evokebeauty.com. That's EVOQbeauty.com and receive 25% off your very first order with the code AWAKEN. Again, that's EVOQbeauty.com. Type in the code AWAKEN for 25% off your first order. So before we move forward, I want to make sure that you read up on these pesky little chemical mimicking estrogens that succumb us and cause basically havoc in the first place. So first, we want to recognize what exactly are xenoestrogens. And theoretically, xenoestrogens are synthetic substances that mimic estrogen. So unfortunately, unlike estrogen, which our body can fully eliminate after its job is done, that's what our beautiful body does as far as keeping our hormones in regulation, brings them into full catalytic state where we're producing hormones and then fully releases them through a detoxification system. Xenoestrogens are actually stored in fat cells where they later disrupt the proper functioning of our reproductive system and then increases our hormone estrogen, which causes an imbalance and puts us at risk for such things as breast or ovarian cancer. let's talk about what causes estrogen dominance. And there's basically two ways that the body accumulates these excess estrogens. And one is endogenously. So that means inside, endo meaning inside. And we tend to, in this circumstance, make too much of our own estrogen, and it's not being properly eliminated, like I had spoken of before about being able to fully eliminate in this natural cycle that we have as women and men for that matter. Now, exogenously, meaning outside, meaning excess estrogens either enter the body from an external source, such as foods, plastics in our water, the environment, certain toxins, and chemicals. And again, they're not properly eliminated. So those are the two ways of what causes this estrogen dominance. Now, let's talk a little bit about the excess estrogen and what are these common catalysts if they're not coming from these outer circumstances. So stress, surprise, right? So the leading cause of these endogenous estrogens actually stem from excessive and prolonged stress levels, which inversely actually decrease our progesterone production. And that only makes more cortisol, which ends up in this lovely cycle of our main stress hormone just elevated for a long time. And this is what ends up in the results of high estrogen levels in relation to progesterone. So the next piece is impaired liver function. Now, there are genetic tests that you can do to figure out if you're a good detoxifier. And there's also different tests that you can figure out if you're detoxifying down the right channels of your estrogen. But when I mentioned in part one, we know that our liver plays a critical role of removing these excess hormones from the body. And if the liver is not working properly, and if it's overloaded, it leads to estrogen dominance. Now, the last piece is interesting, and this is dysbiosis. What exactly is dysbiosis? When we have a higher count of the bad bacteria versus the good bacteria in our gut, it actually inhibits the conversion of estrogen into water-soluble molecules. This causes the estrogens to then re-inoculate back into our bloodstream, where it then can just re-exert its effects and just start back into this cycle. So gut health is actually very, very important for the metabolism of our hormones. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Now, let's move on to a deeper understanding of what we're talking about today in today's podcast. And these are xenoestrogens that come from our personal care products. Now, I know just even up to this point, you may feel overwhelmed, but trust me, reducing our load of xenoestrogen exposure through the awareness that we're going to talk about right now when applied to our beauty products is easier than you think. But the impact is absolutely huge. And I have no doubt this will be helpful and clarifying for you and your beautiful health. So here are two reasons why xenoestrogens hidden in our skincare is quite harmful. And the first reason pertaining to women is the increase of cancer. Did you know, and it is verifiably true, that about 40% of all cancers in women are hormonally driven? So when estrogen mimickers are present in our body and in our beauty products, it increases the overall levels of circulating hormones. This is why it may also increase our risk for certain cancers, specifically breast cancer, because breast cancer is actually estrogen dependent. So research has now shown that xenoestrogens in our beauty and our personal care products can pose an increased risk of breast cancer. Now listen up, ladies. The next is fertility, or should I say infertility. In women, exposure to xenoestrogens can actually predispose us to estrogen-dominant related health conditions. Now follow the link to symptoms and or conditions like PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, and fibroids and infertility. So it's actually the exposure to these xenoestrogens. It's not necessarily the sole cause of fertility issues. Rather, it's the constant exposure to the endocrine disrupting compounds, like in our personal and beauty care products and our routines that affect these conditions. So the next piece is actually when becoming pregnant, xenoestrogen exposure can also be harmful, very, very harmful. And in mice, we have this research that exposure to xenoestrogens during pregnancy has been shown to affect the estrogen levels of the developing fetus. Now, let's not leave the men out of this conversation because this is very interesting. Men are actually even more susceptible to the negative effects of xenoestrogens on their fertility than are women. So how? So xenoestrogens actually are contributing factors to the deterioration of these men's semen quality, count, and inversely resulting in their inability to help the woman conceive. So if you and your partner are having trouble getting pregnant, xenoestrogens in his beard oil or a facial cream or a body cream or his antiperspirant should be assessed and is an easy way to reduce your exposure to these endocrine disrupting compounds that even affect men. And in fact, if your man has a little bit of a man boob and a little bit of chub around the hip area, those are very estrogen dominant fat storage areas for men and for women. This leads me to how we can awaken to these xenoestrogens in our personal care and beauty products from the outside in. As we've reviewed, when we consume these chemicals internally, they are first filtered in the liver. And this is great because they are filtered in a systematic way so that it doesn't re-enter the bloodstream. But when you use skincare products topically, they contain these different compounds. They actually pose risk through absorption. Now, there is some debate, and as a product formulator for Evoke Beauty, I am very, very conscious of this, and I have been for some long time. And there are different ways that these compounds can end up in the skin with nanotechnology. With a nanotechnology means that it's so small, it enters the bloodstream through the skin because of the small particulates are so small. And we see this with sunscreen. We see this with mineral powders. And this can pose a risk. And so we want to make sure and we understand how the products are formulated and how deep they really go into the skin. So let's review these top 10. Actually, let's just review the top ingredients. I don't know if I have 10. There's probably more. Who knows? But grab a pen or just put your mind on high alert because these are the pieces that you want to go to and check in your bathroom when you're shopping, when you're flipping over the box of these products. Now, some of them you've probably heard for because the graciousness of the EWG has been able to pull these out front and center and make women aware of these 168 chemicals that we apply every single day. So the first one is phthalates. So what are phthalates? These are found in cosmetics, cleaning products, even our food packaging, our detergents, toys, and even our plastic wrap. So buyer beware. The worst part about phthalates is that phthalates oftentimes are hidden in the ingredients under the name of fragrance. So like we mentioned earlier, fragrance is a big red siren to me because companies are able to vaguely tuck them in and label them into a group of ingredients that are simply fragrance in order to protect their quote unquote trade secret ingredients. But oftentimes these are unnatural ingredients swooped into a fragrance as its as it's covered goat, and there's toxic ingredients in them. So you want to look for phthalates. Other short-term abbreviated names would be DEP, DBP, DAHP. Okay, so that's it for phthalates. Let's move on to their parabens. So parabens are found in deodorants, antiperspirants, moisturizers, sunscreens, makeup. They're found everywhere. So why do we have them? Well, essentially, they are antimicrobial agents that create a preservative in our products. Now, I will say also as a formulator, preservatives and or making sure that your product does not go bad is very, very important. Important for infection, important for huge lawsuit for the company. And you want to make sure that your product remains fresh. And this is why with Evoke Beauty products, what we do is we actually use natural forms of preservatives. Honeysuckle is one. And then the other strategy is we actually use very, very high level frequency of antioxidants, which are a natural preservative. So there's many ways that we can preserve products that are natural, organic, and perfectly safe. So the parabens you want to look for are ethyl paraben, butyl paraben, methyl paraben, and other ingredients ending in paraben. Ta-da! So let's just be frank. Look for paraben-free labels. It's the absolute easiest way to avoid this exposure to these xenoestrogens in your skincare products. So the next is formaldehyde. Now I know this one well because I'm in the hair industry and I have my hands in hair color and even straighteners, often, let's say every day on the half hour by the half hour. And I remember when these straightening companies came out for hair and they were threatened because they had formaldehyde in their products. So when women learned this, they kind of banned against this certain company I'm not going to mention. But the trick is this. What these companies will do is actually put it into an aldehyde. And when tested and not heat activated, it's perfectly fine. But the trick is when it's heat activated, that's what releases the carcinogens. So formaldehyde is a known carcinogen, and it's an irritant found in nail products, hair dye, relaxers, fake eyelash adhesives, and even some shampoos. So banned from other companies, it certainly should be well aware of when you're looking for certain ingredients to be removed from your products. So the next is fragrance. And fragrance, we've talked about a couple times, and it has a huge hormone disrupting effects. So fragrance is also connected to headaches, dizziness, asthma, and allergies. And I think we all know this if you work in a workplace where it says, please do not wear fragrance. We are desensitizing ourselves and we are becoming hypersensitive to all of these chemicals. And fragrance is one trigger for sure. So instead, maybe use products that are natural and organic fragrances with essential oils, or simply go fragrance free.
All right, ladies, if you're looking for healthy hair, beautiful skin, and a calm, quiet, clean, collected, powerful mind with superior CBD, go to evokebeauty.com. That's EVOQbeauty.com. And you'll receive 25% off your very first order with the code AWAKEN. Again, that's evoqbeauty.com. Use the code AWAKEN for 25% off your first order.
Now, the next one is lead. And this is a known carcinogen, and it is a hormone disruptor. And it's found in mostly eyeliners, hair dye, and as we know, as the EWG quoted with their big campaign years ago, do you have lead in your lipstick? Now, there are tiny compounds of lead found in many things, just like there is on any of these ingredients that we are talking about. But it's the key thing here is the overconsumption of little bits every day, day in, day out, that we want to be aware of. So moving on, we have mercury. Now we know about it with dental and oral health, but it is also a known irritant and an allergen that with accumulation in the body over time can impair actually our brain and our nervous system. And the next is oxybenzone. This is the active ingredient in chemical sunscreens that accumulates in our fatty tissue, also linked to allergens, hormone disruption, and actually cellular damage and skin damage at that. Hello, aging. So this is a big one. Not only are we putting these chemicals onto our skin, we go out and we bake in the sun in them, bake them into our skin a little bit more, a little bit deeper, causing skin damage, aging, and endocrine disruption. So I highly recommend wearing skin protective clothing and using completely natural and organic minerals or zinc products. Now, one piece that I will add here is with our Evoke Beauty Tinted Primer. What we've done with this is we've actually gone ahead and we've put a vitamin D form into our topical skin tinted products so that you can not only get your sun protection, have a nice tint that blends into virtually every skin tone and gives you your vitamin D while you protect yourself from aging. We're almost there. The next is DEA, TEA, and MEA, and these are ethanolamines. Now, as a colorist, you often find these in hair color, and this is something that I look for in hair color to make sure that they're not in there, but they're used as emulsifiers and foaming agents, mostly in shampoos, as I said, hair color, body washes, soaps, any kind of topical application products. And they've actually been associated with cancer in animal studies, but I also know them to be an irritant in many forms in many products as well. So the next one is sodium lauryl sulfate. We've heard of this one. The short term for this would be SLS or SLES. And it's basically an industrial degreaser that is very cheap, and just made to make the soap foamy. And there are plenty of alternatives to this. And it's unfortunately an irritant and can be absorbed into the body. Now, I will say this. I do also have clients that have a SLS. They have a sensitivity to this, and I've actually found it in hair color as well. It may be an additive ingredient that you just don't know is in certain things outside of a cleanser or what have you. So the last one is diethylene glycol, DEG. And this one's a little bit of a tricky one as well. It's a central nervous system depressant, and it potently can damage the kidneys or the liver. So sometimes it's found in fragrances. And the key thing about diethylene glycol or DEG is that glycerin and propylene glycol, which are often found in products, many products are sometimes contaminated with this DEG. So you want to make sure it's very common ingredients in personal care products. And glycerin, my feedback on glycerin is you want to be careful because we use this in high levels and amounts in a lot of personal care products as somewhat of a filler. Those are the ingredients to avoid, my naturalistas. So just on the outside, we care about the inside, and staying beautiful inside and out by focusing on our nutrition and detoxification is the last piece that is critically essential. So in conclusion, these reoccurring toxins that build up in the body can adversely impact not only your health and your hormones, but it also can affect your looks and, as we've said, your overall well-being. So I just really want to suggest that check your beauty labels. But aside from that, make sure you're eating a plant-rich diet full of color, that you're engaging in frequent, enjoyable exercise, just simply walking, moving everything around, moving the fascia and the tissue around. And then also drinking plenty of water to stay hydrated and to help your body naturally flush out those toxins, not only keeping these xenoestrogens at bay, but it might also deter blemishes and fine lines that show up in your skin. So if you have any skin issues or any hormonal imbalance symptoms, I really want to also suggest finding a reputable functional medicine practitioner or someone you trust that can test your hormones if you see any of these kind of issues at bay, or going back to the first episode of excess estrogen symptoms in women and how this can kind of flush out in our symptoms. But you can test them, and, test instead of guess. These comprehensive hormone panels are excellent, and they're a great starting place for evaluating hormone function. All of these small changes, they make a huge impact and they all add up. Make sure you keep your eyes open and look for these key ingredients, understand the impact and how they can make a difference in so many different ways in the body, whether you have open detoxification channels, causing friction going out in the sun and baking in negative ingredients deeper into the skin. There's just a whole host of things that are really rich to gain from this episode to be aware of. To start making confident, empowering decisions today, I'm going to make it easy for you. Just head over to evoquebeauty.com, EVOQbeauty.com, and everything on that website, you will find xenoestrogen free, whether it's your hair care, your skin care, your wellness, or CBD products. It's all free of these damaging ingredients that may be causing advanced aging or hormonal disruption. So that's all for today, my naturalistas. Thank you so much for listening to the Awaken Beauty podcast. Please like, subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're not already a part of our tribe, go ahead and go over to our Facebook channel, and you can go to the Awaken Beauty Facebook and join our other naturalistas where we can all dialogue about our favorite products and what you thought about today's episode. So again, if you're looking for natural, organic, and hormone disruption-free skincare and body care, just go to evoquebeauty.com, EVOQbeauty.com, and type in Awaken, and I'll go ahead and give you 25% off your first order. So that's all for now. Thank you for listening to the Awaken Beauty podcast. Love and light. And until next time, thank you for listening. And one more thing, don't forget to go to the mini episode and download this list, and you will get the full list and the full show notes so that you can have the reminder of what key ingredients to look for. All right, ladies, thank you so much.
Hello, Awaken Beauties. Thank you for joining Cassandra today. Were you inspired to bring your sexy back? Please like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Interested in high-quality natural products for your hair, skin, and wellness? Please visit evoquebeauty.com. Again, that's evoquebeauty.com. EVOQbeauty.com. Until next time, stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back.